Back, Transport Minister Fikile Mbalula says there has been nearly 700 road fatalities between the 1st and the 20th of December this year. This is less than the same period last year. Mbalula released the 2020 festive season preliminary road statistics in Limpopo this morning.
It is regrettable that 690 people lost their lives on our roads over the period 1st to the 20th December 2020, compared to 732 over the same period in 2019. While this represents a 5.7 decline year on year, it is no reason to celebrate. One life lost on our roads is one life too many. Equally, the total number of crashes has declined by 8% compared to the same period last year. These fatalities that could have been avoided amplify the pain of those whose loved ones have succumbed to COVID-19 while other relatives perish on our roads.
The preliminary mid-festive season report shows that road fatalities have decreased in 6 provinces.
It is noteworthy that 6 provinces recorded a decline in fatalities. We are encouraged that these reductions made a positive contribution towards the realization of our 20% target of reducing fatalities on our roads in 2020. Northern Cape recorded a decline of 23.5% with 13 fatalities compared to 17 in 2019. Western Cape recorded a decline of 26.6% with 69 fatalities compared to 94 in 2019. Free State recorded a decline of 28.8% with 47 fatalities compared to 66 in 2019. Gauteng recorded 18.7% decline with 122 fatalities compared to 150 in 2019. Northwest recorded 5.8% decline with 49 fatalities compared to 52 in 2019. KwaZulu-Natal recorded a 3% decline with 131 fatalities compared to 135 in 2019. 3 provinces recorded an increase in the number of fatalities compared to the same period last year. Eastern Cape recorded a 21.5% increase with 96 fatalities compared to 79 in 2019. Limpopo recorded an 18.4% increase with 19 fatalities compared to 76 in 2019. Mpumalanga recorded a 15.9% increase with 73 fatalities compared to 63 in 2019.
Now, our reporter Pelane Phakgadi has been following the story and joins us now. Pelane, thank you so much for your time. Now, what has the minister attributed the number of deaths to? Because, 690 deaths and we're only on the 22nd of December is quite a high number.
Well, it is quite a high number, Unati, but it is also substantially low as compared to sometime last year. But now, what the minister was attributing this quite high number to is the fact that there has been quite a lot of negligence on the roads. That's the first one. And the second part is that there's been a drunken driving, and that is something that he has been talking quite harshly against, saying that there seems to have been a growing trend, despite the fact that we know that it has been a problem in South Africa for some time. But this festive season, it so seems that people might have been excited for having time to travel to their home provinces, being able to travel for the first time since the lockdown was instituted all the way back in March. So there seems to be a lot of excitement as far as that is concerned, and also reckless driving. He was saying that there was somebody who was caught along the N1 south in the Free State, and that person had clocked 242 kilometers per hour. You can imagine, should there be any kind of an incident, what kind of damage that could cause. So that it has been attributed to the high numbers. And of course, it's not only about an issue of drunk driving, but drinking and walking as well has been a problem. And jaywalkers coming to the light, attributing to quite a number of substantially, basically, the number of people who have died along the road. So a lot of people drink and walk along the side, even the highways, and that has been something that has contributed to the 690 fatalities recorded between the 1st of December and the 20th of December, this particular festive season. Nothing.
And I mean, you talk about compliance on the road or lack thereof. And I was going to go to that question to say, have you, I mean, in the time that you've spent being out in the roads with law enforcement authorities, seen any general compliance on the roads this festive season? We haven't even gone to New Year's Eve yet. So I would imagine that these numbers will likely rise.
Well, that is a question Newzroom Afrika actually put to the minister himself during one of our live crossings, and we asked whether there was general compliance across the country. He said that his immediate impression is that South Africans are generally compliant, but then there are a number of people who would try their luck as far as denting the law or even crossing it in that particular sense. And he talked quite harshly about what has been happening in Pretoria North. You've seen there's been visuals of people that were partying along the R80, and some of the people were also blocking the tunnel in the Pretoria North Boysons, to be exact, and they will be partying there. And we do know that it ended not so well for the people that were partying. Some of them, about 5 young people, had died after a combi that they were traveling in rolled over, and attributing that as well to alcohol. And he did say, the minister, that is something that law enforcement has to guard quite harshly against. And then in that particular guidance, he did say that at any kind of force that is necessary should be enforced, even if it means ensuring that you are making everybody to part ways through the use of rubber bullets. That's what he did say on record, and saying that it is quite unfortunate and unacceptable that some young people would go out of their way to block a national road, and as well as to block a public road inside a tunnel, only to stop their vehicles, play loud music, and party within that particular sense. So he had called on law enforcement agencies to pull all stops and ensure that the law is retained across the country, particularly in residential areas where he's going to ensure that there is quite a lot of visibility going into New Year's, as you already indicated. It's not yet New Year, and at that time, just 4 or 5 days after that, you will come through to give us an updated analysis of the numbers throughout the festive season. Nothing.
Now, I guess the question then is the Transport Department's work to reduce fatalities on the roads effective in its attempt to reach the 20% fatalities reduction this festive season? I would imagine that goal was probably something that was set up before COVID-19, and it probably would have been attainable. But now we are sitting in a pandemic, and I'm sure authorities are asking themselves how we have reached 690 fatalities thus far. I mean, is the department's work effective?
Well, two things here, Unat. Let's first begin with the pandemic in itself. In April, during a time where we expect that there will be a lot of road carnage across the country, that was put down quite drastically, not because of the department's work, but because of the extent of the lockdown that was handed to South Africa, a hard lockdown at the time. Nobody was allowed to move around. Nobody was allowed to cross the borders of the provinces. And that initially ensured that there was a decline in the number of road carnage as reported to the previous year. At this time, the expectation was that there will be less people traveling as well, as far as the pandemic is concerned, so that people would stay at home and allow the virus in itself to subside, So that in that manner, I would say not only is the department winning, but as well as South Africa winning the fight against this pandemic. Now, coming directly to your question, is that the department feels that it is winning because last year they set a 10% target and they attained that. And at this instance, they tell us that they've set a 20% target, and they believe that they will attain that. Looking at the 6th province that had recorded a decline as far as fatalities is concerned, and of course only 3 at this current moment, that is Mpumalanga, Limpopo, and the Eastern Cape, having recorded an increase in the number of accidents and fatalities, of course. So they are of the belief, as we were told by the minister himself, that they will have, they still have all the belief, of course, I'd rather say that they will attain the 20%, and they feel their work with the Hood for Safety campaign also coming in handy. And just to explain in just a few seconds, that particular Hood for Safety campaign, as the minister has given it to us, was that when people are hooting around 12 o'clock each and every single day, it will give them an opportunity to and remind them that they are actually still supposed to drive cautiously to wherever destination that they are going, and at the same time remember that they are not driving alone along the road. So when they do hoot, it is not only a remembrance to themselves, but perhaps even to those who might be hearing the hoot, that they too must think deeply before they do anything negligent or reckless along the road. So that is the program in itself across the festive season, hoping that those numbers will not reach the same numbers as last year, so that they can be able to attain that particular 20% decrease as far as road fatalities are concerned. Nothing.
All right, Pelane, thank you so much for that analysis. That was our reporter, Pelane Phakgadi, just giving us that update outside of the preliminary festive season fatalities statistics.